here from Unwind Movement, and today I am going to be taking you through a 10-minute foam rolling series. So I know a lot of you have your foam rollers at home. Let's dust it off and figure out what we can do for our bodies to help release our muscles and gain more mobility. Mobility is a big thing taking over the fitness industry, and when we really truly want to think about active aging, this is the best thing you can be doing for yourself at home. So without further ado, we're going to start with our legs first and work our way up our body. So take your foam roller, no matter what size you have. It might be teeny tiny at home or medium size, that's fine. We are going to work with what we have and get into our calf muscles. So going back and forth, up and down, working on rotating from the hips and the knees. This is the start position for anybody, whether you are seasoned and an expert or you are just starting off with your foam rolling journey. We're gonna get into the bottom part of the calf. So if you imagine like an upside down teardrop for that calf muscle, just right at the bottom of that teardrop, I want you to get back and forth. And you can play around with a flex. I don't feel it all with a flex, but as soon as you relax, it can get into those niggles. And once those niggles start to release is when you can move on to the next thing. You can spend as long as you want here, but typically in each position, we want to be spending at least 30 to 90 seconds to get a full release. 5 minutes is a full fascial release. So depending on what kind of time you have and what goals you have, keep that in mind when you're doing this on your own. Another way we can get deeper into the calf muscle is simply by either, well, A, lifting ourselves up, which requires a little bit more arm and core strength to balance here, and even potentially crossing one leg over the other to really target one side and then switching over to the other side. Now we're gonna get into our hamstrings. So just doing one leg at a time, I find is the most effective by bending one leg and taking the other leg out. Now just rolling back and forth all the way along that hamstring, the back of your thigh to the sits bone and the back of the knee, almost just above. You can also play around with a flex here or a relaxed ankle. And once you find a niggly spot, you can simply just ease into it, try to drop into it and melt over that foam roller. The heavier you can be, the more relaxed you can be, the more benefit you're gonna gain. So again, 30 to 90 seconds, rolling back and forth. We're gonna go ahead and switch over to the other side, and I want you to find the foam roller over the other side. Again, you can cross one leg over if you want to. It doesn't really do much for the hamstring, but if you want to look at getting deeper into the hamstring, grab a tennis ball and sit on it right underneath that sits bone. You're going to get an even deeper release, or a spiky ball, a cross ball, something a little bit denser and heavier can help you get really released underneath that glute into the hammies. But this is a good general release that some people will find out, and others of us will just get by cruising through it. Now we're gonna go quad, so roll over onto your belly. We're gonna lie the pelvis on top of the foam roller and army crawl onto our elbows, forward and back. The reason why we start with the lower body first is so that we can release our upper body at the end. We don't wanna get all this tension released out of our arms, out of our necks, out of our shoulders, out of our back, and then regain that by having to prop ourselves up again with the legs. So start at the legs, work your way up. You can also play around with your external rotation, like you're a ballet dancer, or internal rotation, like you're pigeon-toed. For some of you, either might be more natural than the other, but that gets the whole quadricep. And when you find a niggle, again, maybe just hang out, get a little bit heavy on that space. I know it hurts at first if you're just starting out, so normal pain experience, but as you do it more, it gets easier. Another thing to mention is that when you are doing this, Even if you're just doing one position, not doing the whole series with me, when you come back into it, drink plenty of water. When you massage your muscles like we're doing here, we release toxins. We need to replace that with hydration. So get into that H2O to help your recovery. Now we're going to get into the inner thigh. And I'm just gonna switch my position for the camera so you can see me easier. Place the foam roller to your side. You're gonna be basically on your belly. I want you to take the knee at a 90-degree angle from the hip if you can, and roll towards the hip and then the inside of the knee. So going back and forth, you can also play around with the flex and an internal rotation to get a little bit more towards that quad, or just relaxed. You might find it with a little bit more tension towards your groin or more sensitive towards your knee. Everybody is different, so just play with it. Find out what works for you. Good, let's go ahead and switch over to the other side. Again, spending 30 to 90 seconds. We are getting through this quite quickly because we're doing a full body. But remember, you can take notes and you can go back through it at your own time. Pick apart the positions that you like and then get them into your routine. Finding a flex, trying that internal rotation, playing around with it. Everyone's gonna be different. And then we're gonna go ahead and get into the least favorite one, the IT band, onto the side of the leg. So let's start off with the basic. Lie that foam roller right underneath your hip. Take that bottom leg straight. So that's your bottom leg. Top leg helps support you along with your arm. And you can take two arms to help crawl you out. Go all the way to the knee. I'm pushing on that top foot to help me here. And then back to the hip bone. So just going back and forth. Again, you can play around with that rotation, going a little bit further forward towards the edge of the quad or further back. Try not to stay there for too long and avoid the IT band altogether. When you find a niggle or a pressure point, just hang out, breathe into it. And when you get really advanced, you can go with both legs. So coming down, if you can tolerate it, onto maybe your elbow, adding more weight into the foam roller and taking both legs with you at the same time. Gets you more of a release. Let's go ahead, switch over to the other side. So, finding the hip, down on the foam roller, bottom leg straight, top leg bent. Again, taking both hands and just going back and forth here. If you want to, drop down onto the elbows, try both legs. If you can't tolerate it, come back up, whatever feels good for you. Listen to your body. And again, watching that you don't go over the knee directly, but underneath the hip and just on top of the knee. I'm finding this side personally a little bit more sensitive, and I am right side dominant. So I need to do a little bit more work on my left side to get that more release. So you might find that you'll have a couple of imbalances yourself as we do one side versus the other. So just take a mental note and think about what extra stuff you could do at home to help even yourself out. Now we're just gonna get into the upper back. So taking your hands behind your head, keeping your tummy muscles on. We're gonna go back and forth. Another position, if your neck is strong enough here, is to round the shoulders to get more in between the shoulder blades and go into the crossed arm position. You might want to lift your hips. You might want to go side to side. It's up to you, whatever feels natural for you. Spend your time there. Now, from this position, we're going to go side on into the triceps, the one that everybody goes, oh, I didn't know I'd be so sore there. So go into your Baywatch pose with your head supported on your hand. And to get into it even more deeply, you can go ahead and lengthen the arm all the way straight and rest your head onto it. Here I'm using that top hand to help shift my hips back and forth. And let's go ahead and switch over to the other side. Either in your Baywatch pose or all the way down from your elbow to your shoulder. Playing around with that for another 30 to 90 seconds. Breathing into it. And our final and very subtle release for our neck. You're gonna go ahead and lie down onto the foam roller here. Legs stay bent to help ease the pressure off of the back. Nose straight up to the ceiling at first. And then I would just want you to move with your mouth and your chin, looking from one side to the other. And it's not going to feel as dynamic. It won't feel like much of anything if I'm being completely honest. But the release afterwards is truly beneficial for releasing that pressure and tension. Our head weighs approximately 7 kgs. So when you think about having to hold that on top of your shoulders with our poor posture, it adds a lot of pressure into the neck area. So once you've spent your time there, go ahead and push the foam roller just gently away, and then experience that difference and that relaxation around your neck. So that is us done for our 10-minute foam rolling series. I know that was fast. I'd love to spend an hour with you doing this, and if you would like to take notes, write down the sequence and spend an hour on the whole body yourself at home. You are more than welcome to do that at any time. But for us, that is done for today. Let us know how you went in the comments below, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.